Assistant Professor in Chemical Engineering Department at LJ Institute of Engineering and Technology. The subject that we are going to continue is Mass Transfer Operations 2. Right, so moving with this lecture, we will study about new topic, that is Vensky equation to calculate number of trays. Okay, this equation is asked many times in exam to derive it. Okay, it is an analytical form of equation with which you can calculate the number of trays. Okay, graphical method is done by McCabe-Thiele method. Now this equation is used to do calculation by analytical method. So this is an analytical expression, okay, to calculate the number of trays at total reflux condition. Okay, so when total reflux is there, they might be given in the exam also, then you have to use the Vensky equation. Now for this equation, the first assumption is that your relative volatility is constant over the column. Okay, see, from bottom to top your temperature is changing. Okay, so as temperature changes, your vapor pressure, it means changes. Okay, and because of that you can say that volatility also changes. Okay, relative volatility changes. But when we are doing the derivation, we assume that the relative volatility is constant over the column. So in column as temperature change, yes, relative volatility change. So here the assumption is constant relative volatility. So derivation starts as, first of all, what is the definition of your relative volatility? Okay, the first step is to write the expression of your relative volatility. So it is Ya upon Xa whole upon Yp upon Xp. Okay, now you are substituting Xp, you are writing total in form of A. Okay, with respect to more volatile component, you are expressing your equation. So the final form is what? Y upon 1 minus Y is equal to alpha into X upon 1 minus X. Okay, so I have represented your equation in form of more volatile component. Okay, with respect to more volatile component. Any plate n plus 1, we are writing it as Yn plus 1 whole upon 1 minus Yn plus 1 is equal to relative volatility of that n plus 1 plate. Okay, at xn plus 1 whole upon 1 minus xn plus 1. Okay, for any plate you are writing it that way. Now the operating line of rectifying section is given here. Okay, again total material balance is what? Vn plus 1 is equal to Ln plus D. Now you must remember it that for top part, this is your overall material balance, and above equation is your operating line equation of enriching section or rectifying section. Clear? Now at total reflux condition, what you are doing, your D is equal to 0 and liquid is equal to vapor. So see here, D is equal to 0, hence your Vn plus 1 is equal to Ln. So your Yn plus 1 is equal to Xn. Clear? That way you did your derivation. Now, so what you are doing, you are substituting Xn in place of Yn plus 1. As you got your equation 1.102. Clear? Now this is done. Now next step is that at the top of column, if the total condenser is used, okay, if you are using the total condenser, it means Y, the vapor composition which is going to the condenser. After condensing, same would be the composition in liquid phase also. Hence what you are doing, instead of Xn you are writing it as Xd. So you got the final relation as equation 1.103. Clear? Now similarly for plate 2, okay, you get x1 upon 1 minus x1 is equal to alpha 2 x2 upon 1 minus x2. See here, when you're taking out the vapors from the top plate, okay, so in the condenser the composition would be what? Same as that obtained from the top plate. Okay, Y1 is suppose the vapors leaving from the top plate. Here we saw that from Yn plus 1 is equal to Xn, that your Y1 is equal to what? Xt. Hence you are writing it as Xt because from top plate it is going. Okay, plate number 1, from that you are taking out the vapors and sending it to the condenser. Similarly for plate 2, it would be what? X1 upon 1 minus x1 is equal to alpha 2 x2 upon 1 minus x2. See, okay, so you are doing that for all the plates. Now combining all the equations. So final relation is what? Xd upon 1 minus xd is equal to alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha 3 up to alpha n, and you're finally getting it as xn upon 1 minus xn. Now come back to our assumption. What we assume that the relative volatility for each plate is constant. Hence relative volatility of all these plates would be what? Alpha average. Now, so instead of what you are doing, instead of multiplication of all these relative volatility, you're substituting is at alpha average raised to n. Now, to reach the bottom product W of composition, XW and n minimum number of plates and a reboiler are required. Okay, in the bottom, reboiler also acts as a plate. Okay, and we are talking about the minimum number of plates here. So the reboiler itself represents as an equilibrium stage. Okay, here in McCabe-Thiele method also we saw that your reboiler itself it acts as a equilibrium stage, because what it is doing, it is reboiling the liquid and vapors are sent back. So the vapors going into the column and the liquid which you are taking out from the reboiler, those are in equilibrium, hence it acts as a plate. So what you are doing, instead of n you are substituting it as nm. Okay, nm plus 1. So here see, n is what? It is equal to minimum number of plates 1 plus 1. Okay, so xt is what? That is your top condition, and bottom is what? xw. So here instead of xn upon 1 minus xn, okay, now you are representing it in form of residue composition, because we are calculating number of plates from top to bottom. Okay, so your top condition has been taken out, and now xw upon 1 minus xw is done. Then you are taking reboiler as a stage itself. Okay, so now nothing, this is the final equation which you got. Now you have to substitute natural logarithm on both LHS and RHS, and finally you get the following relation: nm is equal to ln of xt into 1 minus xw upon xw into 1 minus xd whole upon ln of alpha average minus 1. So this is your Fenske equation to calculate the minimum number of plates. Let's have a look into a question. So this is your question: a mixture of benzene and toluene containing 40 mole % benzene is to be separated to give a product of 90 mole % benzene from the top, and bottom product should not have more than 10% mole benzene. Here average value of relative volatility is what? 2.4. Calculate number of theoretical plates required at total reflux, and calculate minimum reflux ratio if your feed is at bubble point. So again the procedure is same. You have been given alpha, relative volatility. Okay, we have this equilibrium relationship. Simply generate the equilibrium data. So this is your data. Now plot on x versus y graph. Okay, so you got the equilibrium curve. Now here see, feed xf is what? 0.4. So locate your 0.4. xf is given. Similarly, mole fraction of benzene in distillate, xt is what? 0.9. So you have located the 0.9 distillate composition. Similarly, locate bottom product, xw is again located. Now see, it is given that total reflux is there. It means, remember now reflux ratio, okay, about total reflux ratio. The enriching section and stripping section, both the lines merge with the diagonal. Hence, you are not plotting the operating line of enriching section and stripping section. Okay, see, at total reflux, both the operating line will coincide with the diagonal. Now, to calculate number of plates, again have a quick revision of McCabe-Thiele method. What you have to do, start from your XD composition, start plotting the triangles. Till when you have to do? Till you reach the residue composition. Okay, so I am plotting the triangles from 0.9 and I am doing the same procedure till 0.1 composition. Hence what you get, number of stages at is n equal to 6. Now what is minimum reflux ratio? Difference in y coordinate upon difference in x coordinate. Okay, see, difference in y coordinate upon difference in x coordinate. So what is y coordinate? Xd minus yf. Okay, xd, okay, 0.9 minus yf, 0.6, clear? Similarly, upon yf, okay, again 0.9 minus xf, what is it? 0.4, clear? Hence you get your RM, minimum reflux ratio, as 1.325. So this was your calculation of your minimum reflux ratio. Now the next topic is reboilers. Now what are reboilers? They are kind of heat exchangers which are kept in the bottom of the distillation column, and they are used to reheat, okay, re-vaporize your bottom residue into vapor form. Okay, so they boil the liquid from the bottom of distillation column and return those vapors back to the main column. Now what are the types of reboiler which you have to study? So first is the kettle type reboiler. Okay, in this type of reboiler, steam flows through the tube bundle and exit as condensate. So your heating media is what? Steam. Okay, the liquid from the bottom tower, which is called as bottom, it flows through the shell side. So you are using steam in the tube side and your residue product, okay, which you have to reboil, that is kept in the shell side. Now, in this type of reboiler, pumping may be required if sufficient liquid head is not there for natural circulation of liquid. Okay, so this is the description of your kettle type reboiler. You can see it is the horizontal arrangement, your tube bundle through which your heating media, which is steam, is passed, and via that heating media, your bottom product is reboiled. Okay, so you can see vapors are taken out and it is sent back to the main column. Now the second type of reboiler is thermosiphon reboiler. Okay, this kind of reboiler, they do not require pumping because natural circulation occur. Okay, naturally your liquid from the bottom product of the column, it flows through the heat exchanger, this reboiler. Okay, now this arrangement is more complex than your kettle type reboiler. They are arranged in horizontal or vertical shape. So this is the description of your thermosiphon reboiler. Here you can see that how natural circulation is there. Okay, the liquid from the main column, it replaces the low density liquid. Okay, you can see the liquid in the top product, you can see the evaporation zone. The liquid is converting into vapor, and so instead of that liquid is displacing, and instead of that your high density liquid is taking place. So natural circulation is there. Here you don't require a pump. So this was about your reboilers. The next topic is vacuum distillation. Okay, this distillation is performed under reduced pressure. Right, in atmospheric distillation unit, your distillation process is carried out at 1 atmosphere, but here you are carrying out your distillation process at pressure which is less than 1 atmosphere. So what happens? Because of that, vapor pressure reduces, and as vapor pressure reduces, so it means your liquid can now boil at low temperature. Okay, now this video, it is generally followed after ADU. So first you are separating your solution, any mixture, in the atmospheric distillation condition. The residue of that atmospheric distillation unit, it is then sent to the vacuum distillation where further separation occurs. Okay, now they are generally used for thermally sensitive materials which are high boiling. Okay, see what happens, because the residue part, okay, they are very less volatile in nature. So to separate those out, you have to subject it to very high temperature, and because of that, cracking might occur. Okay, that thermal degradation may occur. So you can see that this is your unit. You are providing the heat, now heating. Okay, but the components will boil at low temperature because you have reduced the pressure, which ultimately reduces the vapor pressure. The next topic is multi-component distillation. So when more than 2 components are present and you have to separate them out, then you are using your multi-component distillation. So here you can see that same procedure is there for the distillation method, but here more than 1 component is there. Hence in your distillate also you will get more than 1 component. Similarly in residue also you will have more than 1 component. But the summation of mole fraction is what? Always equal to 1. Right? So here you can see that how feed is more than 2 component. Okay, it comprises of more than 2 component, and how sequencing of tower is there. Okay, so in first tower you are separating it out, your A as more volatile component. The rest is then sent to tower 2 where further their separation occurs. So this way multi-component distillation is carried out. Now the important factors are, first of all you have to study about key components. So what are the key components? Any 2 components of the feed whose compositions are present in both distillate and residue. So those components are called as key components. Right, in your mixture, so here you can see that A plus B plus C. From these 3 components, any 2 of the components which are present in both distillate and residue, so those components are your key components. Now again dividing those, what is light key component? So of these 2 key components, any 1 component whose concentration is high in distillate, so that is your light key component, right? Similarly your heavy key component is what? Which is present in high concentration in residue, that is your heavy key component. So let's understand with example. Okay, so here suppose in your mixture you have 4 components, A, B and C and D. So here you can see that in top and bottom, B and C are present in both top and bottom. So B and C are what? Your key components. A and D are not your key components because A is only present in top whereas it is not present in bottom. Similarly, D is only present in bottom and it is not present in top. Here you can see that your A is the most volatile, right? Because it is present in pure form in top. it is not present in bottom, hence it is your most volatile component. Similarly, D, it is only present in bottom, it means it is your least volatile component, whereas B and C both are present in your top and bottom part. Now, your D is what? It is light key. Okay, suppose it is present in majority in top, so it is your light key component. Similarly, C, if it is present in majority in bottom, then it is your heavy key component. So this way you are differentiating your components as light key and heavy key, right? So that was about today's lecture. In next lecture we will continue about humidification operation. Okay.